Hello, good morning, students. We are back again and we shall study about the environment or enforcement of safety laws. You can take your textbook page number 127, 127. Let us see how to enforce the safety laws. In the previous class, we learned about how the Bhopal gas tragedy affected thousands of people. They lost their life. Some of them became maimed, some of them became permanently ill, and even the compensation that they demanded, it was not granted. Only a small amount was given. So it is all we can say the failure of the government. It is the failure of the organizations, the court to get justice done for the people. So let us see how to enforce the laws, the safety laws. We said the company that is running in America and also in India, same company, they have different rules. For one rule in America, another rule for India. So they are exploiting the conditions, the poor conditions of Indians by not giving them safety conditions to work and so on. But in America, it is not possible because their law is very strong, the government is very strong. Therefore, anyone who makes the mistake, they have to pay the punishment. But in India, the laws are not so strict, therefore, they are taking advantage of it. So, let us see how to enforce these safety laws in our country. And we know when we are studying the constitution, we talked about Article 21, which speaks about the right to life. So every person has got the right to life, and therefore it is the duty of the government to ensure that people are able to live their life in a safe conditions. Maybe they are workers, maybe they are ordinary villagers, or people who are living in the town, wherever they are or whoever they are, they have got the right to demand safe conditions for their living. Just government telling, okay, you have the right to live, you can live anywhere is not enough. So in order to live, certain things are necessary. So that is the duty of the government to provide those necessary things. For example, water is required, shelter is required, pure atmosphere, pure air, clean water, all these things are required for living a good life. Therefore, it is the duty of the government to provide all these things. The same way, people who are working, the workers who are working in different areas, in maybe in factories, maybe in the mines, or maybe in other dangerous areas where they are working, it is a duty of the government to ensure that these people are working in a safe conditions, or the laws are made to ensure their safety and so on. For example, in the case of that Bhopal gas tragedy, the safety laws were not implemented. The laws were there, but they were not following it. They were just ignoring it. And the government did not check it, did not punish the culprits, and so on. So such kind of things should not be there. So government has to make sure that the laws in India, they are not lax, they are not relaxed, they are not loose, but they are strict and strictly followed. So when the companies or the employers know that the law is very strict, they cannot escape, then they'll be very careful not to make a mistake. They'll give value to the lives of the people. In the case of Bhopal, the American company knew that the laws in India are not very strict, they are loose. Therefore, they were able to take chance. They know they can escape by giving little amount of compensation and so on. So that way they took a chance. So it is a duty of the government to make sure that these laws are not lax at all, and the government has to make sure that these safety laws, that should not be weak, or there should not be any loophole. Once somebody makes some mistake, they should not say, oh, I thought it was like that, I thought it was like this, and so. So there should not be any doubt in explaining the law. The law means one thing, only one and one thing. There is no a double explanation. So government should make sure that the laws that are implemented, they are very clear in its explanation, and nobody can cheat saying the law was not clear and so on. So all these are the duties and responsibilities of the government. And the government officials refused to recognize the plant as hazardous and allowed to come up in populated locality. So when we consider about the case in Bhopal Gas Tragedy, we said there was already some complaints before that and the gas was leaking and some people died before. But the company did not bother. The government officials also did not bother. They did not take any action against this company, and they refused to recognize that this plant, they are manufacturing poisonous things, so it is very dangerous things, and they should not have allowed this factory to be set up in a populated city like Bhopal and so on. So they should have allowed this company to be somewhere in the very rural area where the population is very low. Instead, the government allowed them to set up in the town itself. So that shows it was the mistake of the government. And when some government officials objected that this company should not be set up here, then what did they do? The position of the government was that the state needs the continued investment of the Bhopal plant, which provides jobs. So when some educated people, some learned people objected that this company should not be set up in this populated place or in the city, in the town, the government came to support this company. Instead of government making the rules strict, government was helping this company. We need their presence here, because if they start this company here, we will get a lot of job opportunities. That was the explanation the government gave. So in a way, the government was also siding with this company. Instead of siding with the people, instead of helping the people to save their life, government was siding with the company, and in order to in the name of getting job and so on. So it was unthinkable, according to them, to ask UC to shift to cleaner technology or safer procedures. So it was an American company, therefore maybe the Indian government was afraid, because America was so rich and powerful, India was so poor, and therefore Indian government thought if you ask them to move to another place or make the environment clean, they may stop and go away. So they were afraid to displease this company. So that was another reason. The government was not much concerned about the lives and the health of the people, but they were worried about making American company happy and so on. And government inspectors continued to approve the procedures in the plan, even when repeated incidents of leaks from the plant made it obvious to everybody that things were seriously wrong. So many people or many workers had complained to the government officers that this Union Carbide factory is not working properly. There's a lot of leaking of gas is there. It is very dangerous and so on. Everything was given there, but government inspector said, okay, they can continue, no problem. So instead of blocking them, or instead of giving them warning to repair their factory, the government officer said, okay, it is okay, they can continue their work. So it was, we clearly see it was a mistake from the government officers that this American company was able to go on with their faulty factory, which was very dangerous to the life of the people. And in this way, we know it is contrary to what the role of law making and enforcement agency should be. So the government's duty is to make the law and implement the law, make sure that everybody is obeying the law. But here we see the Indian government officers, they were allowing the American company to break the law and have their own way. You do whatever you want, no problem. That way they gave permission to the American company, and that made them to misuse the rules. misuse the law of the country and put the life of the people in danger and so on. So that way they prove that they are very dangerous and so on. So it is just opposite. Government supposed to make the law obey by everyone, but here they are allowing this American company to break the law. No need to obey, you break the law. That was their interest. And so instead of protecting the interests of the people, their safety was being disregarded both by the government and by the private companies. So government is there to support the lives of the people, because we said Article 21 speaks about right to life. So it is the duty of the government to provide safe situation for the people to live. But here instead what did they do? They were allowing others, the private companies, to break the law and put the life of the people in danger. So most probably they might have got some commission from these private companies and they accepted that bribe and put the life of the people in danger and so on. This is obviously not at all desirable. So it is not the way the government should function, the government should do. They should stand for the people and they should care for the life of the people and so on. So with more industries being set up, both by local and foreign business in India, there is a great need for stronger laws protecting workers' rights and better enforcement of these laws. So as the time is coming, we see more and more foreign companies want to start their company in India, their factory in India. The reasons we said in the previous class. In India, the labor is very cheap. The people are ready to get some job, even to work in the very dangerous situations, because they need money. They are very poor. And so making use of this poor people's situation, the government come, or the foreign government or the foreign companies, they come and start this their company in India. And so it is the duty and the responsibility of the government in India to make sure that the companies are following proper safety rules in our country. If they want to start factory in our country, they should follow the rule of the country. They cannot just escape the rule. They cannot just ignore the rule and put the life of the people in danger and so on. So it is the duty of the government to put the conditions, the laws in front of the foreign company who want to start their factory in India. If you want to start your factory in India, you must follow such and such rules. So it should be very clearly written down and given to them. There should be no case of doubt, no case of misunderstanding and so on. It should be very clearly explained, and if they are willing to obey this law only, then they should be allowed. Otherwise they should be asked to go back. So government should be very strict, and otherwise our people will continue to die and we will be the losers. Others will be making profit at the expense of our life and we will be the losers and so on. So we may ask the question, why do you think enforcement of safety laws is important in any factory? So any factory is started by maybe by the Indians or maybe by the foreign companies. Whoever starts working in a factory is a very dangerous situation. There can be accidents, people can die, or people can become handicapped. So the safety conditions are very much important. So before government giving a permission to a company to start a factory, government should make sure that all the safety conditions are there. We saw in the beginning of this lesson what are the safety conditions required. There should be fresh air, there should be emergency exit in case of accidents, in case of fire and so on. So fire extinguishers should be there, proper way to escape suddenly, go out of the building in case of accidents and so on. So all these things should be there, otherwise their life is in danger. So Whether it is a gas factory or any other factory, always there is a chance for accidents. Therefore, we need to make sure that these things are set in place. The safety laws, safety requirements are set in place. Otherwise, people will continue to suffer and so on. And also we can see the a few other situations where laws exist but people do not follow them because poor enforcement. So some places we see the rules are written down very clearly that the company has to do such and such things. But the company knows the government is not very strict or the officers are not very strict. Therefore, they simply ignore that law. They don't follow. In case somebody complained against them, what do? Ah, they give some pocket money to them and make it solve the problems and so on. Okay. Can you point government officers? Then another thing is that in the road safety, we know it is written down that vehicles should travel only in such and such a speed. Ah, okay. And many places we can see the vehicles are going full speed, more than what is allowed, and then there is no punishment, there is no uh, action is taken against them. The poor people walking on the road, their lives are lost, they are hit by speeding motor vehicle and so on. So such things are taking place because of the lack of implementation of the law. The law is already there, very clearly said maximum speed allowed is this, or when they travel two-wheelers they should wear helmet, or when they when they travel in four-wheelers they should wear seat belt. All these laws are there but people are not following it, and the government is not very strict in implementing these laws. There is no strict punishment, there is no hard punishment, therefore people are breaking these laws again and again. So we have to make sure that such things are not repeated, so that the life of the people are safe and they are kept safe. And also people should be afraid to break the law because the punishment should be very high, then only they will be afraid. Otherwise, if the punishment is very small, they'll go on breaking it again and again. And what are the problems of enforcement? So very often we realize people are unwilling to enforce the law because they want to just enjoy their life. Whether the officers, they don't want to do their duty well, they don't want to find out the culprits who are breaking the law and so on. So they just go and sit in their office and say everything is okay, everything is okay, while outside people are breaking the laws. So such things are taking place and so on. So we also see an example in the recent years. A travel agency, a tour agency, they had planned a tour. They had taken the people and they said the time will be kept there and the people will be able to visit many places and so on. So these people they did not arrange their tour properly. The company did not arrange their tour properly. Because of that, the the travelers, the tourists, they could not visit the Disneyland, and they should not go and did not get enough time to do shopping in Paris and so on. So according to their schedule, they are supposed to have time in Paris. They are supposed to go and visit the Disneyland or visit the market in Paris and so on. But because of poor management of time, they could not do it, and therefore these tourists they file case against this company. They should pay compensation 8 lakhs just because they were late for a few minutes, because the rules are very strict and they can demand the compensation even for these small things. that they were not able to do marketing or shopping in Paris. But in the case of India, thousands of people lost their life, and they were demanding for compensation, and the government did not support them, the court did not support them, and the people lost their life. You can see the difference between the law in India and the law in abroad. So foreign laws are very strict, and therefore people will not make such mistake. Even those who are arranging a tour, they will make sure that it is arranged such a way that the promises are fulfilled. But in India, the situation is completely different. To go to the court also, it becomes so difficult, and the poor people have no access to the easy access to the court, and therefore very often when they file the case, they are losing it. So all these problems are there. So in India, we need to improve the law and order situation to a much greater height. Otherwise, the poor people will continue to suffer, the poor people will continue to lose their life, and we can say in India people will continue to suffer and others will take advantage of us. So let us hope that it will not happen to us, it will not take place, but we will be able to work hard in order to improve the law and order situation in India, especially the safety laws, and it will be implemented properly. So we shall wind up for today, and thank you for listening. Have a nice day. Bye.